Okay, before we go past the general variance formula, let's look at doing it a somewhat simpler way by factoring out the equations so we can see them a little simpler. So let's look at the factored equations here. The material price variance, MPV, material price variance, if we factor out the actual quantity, because we're doing it twice, we can see easily that it's the actual quantity times the difference in the actual price minus the standard price. In our previous example, we had actual quantity of 210 kilograms, and we simply multiply it by the difference between the actual price and the standard price. In this case, the actual price was 10 cents less than the standard price, multiplied by the 210 kilograms gives us $21 favorable. So these equations are somewhat simpler than setting out the overall model and filling in the blanks. You can fill in the blanks. I think it's simpler to follow if you fill in all the blanks in all the models and work your way through it. But it's also easy to see here that if you spent 10 cents less per material, per pound of material, all of a sudden you would have a positive favorable variance. It's just how much of a variance it is. Well, if it's 10 cents less than the favorable variance, then you multiply by the amount of material you used, and you would get how much you actually saved for that particular month. So you can use the equations, you can use the overall model and plug all the numbers in, or you can use these equations, which are somewhat simpler, I think, once you get used to them. So the other one here, of course, is materials quantity variance, MQV, and that's actual quantity times standard price minus standard quantity times standard price. So if you factor out the standard price, you get the actual quantity minus the standard quantity. So in this case, our quantity was 210 kilograms, which was our actual quantity, and then we figured out our standard quantity that we should have used was 1/10 of a kilogram times the 2,000 parkas that we created, so that was 200 kilograms. So 210 was actual, 210 should have, or 200 was standard. The difference between the two is we went over by 10 kilograms, and then we simply multiply that by the standard price of 5 kilograms per or $5 per kilogram, which gets us the $50 unfavorable that we we used more materials than we should have, so we're over budget. So this is just a different way of looking at the same equations, a little simpler way, I think, to use them. But if you're not comfortable with that, you can just plug everything into the equation, the standard model, and the same answers will occur. So either way you want to use it, it's fine, doesn't matter. You'll get the same answers.